The nation's second largest bank in a crisis of its own making. But up until today, Westpac CEO Brian Hartzer was refusing to go.
I feel that the best thing I can do to demonstrate genuine remorse is to develop a plan that we can implement to fix the issues and make sure something good comes out of our mistakes.
I'm disgusted at the bank's arrogance and hubris and the lack of accountability and the destroying of hard-earned shareholders' wealth, whereas Brian Hartzer walk away with millions.
I think not only the staff involved should be sacked, but their managers, and it should go all the way up the line.
Almost exactly a year ago, Brian Hartzer faced the glare of the Banking Royal Commission. He survived that, but he couldn't survive this.
The response of the community to child exploitation, when they hear that coming from a bank, is really one of shock and disgust, I'm sure. They would expect the banks to be better at understanding where their payments are going.
There are strict rules requiring banks to report transactions that could be used to launder money or fund terrorism. The regulator AUSTRAC accuses Westpac of profiting while breaking those rules, and senior executives of being indifferent to the problem.
The arrogance of the banks is still significant, certainly in many cases, but I'm sure that it's going to reduce as a consequence of what Commonwealth Bank has been through, what NAB has been through, and what Westpac is now going through.
From 2013 to 2018, Westpac didn't report over $11 billion of international transfers to the regulator as required. This includes 12 individuals AUSTRAC has identified as using Westpac's service to potentially fund child exploitation. In 2016, senior managers were told its low-cost transfer system, LightPay, could be exploited. But it wasn't until 2018 that Westpac fixed the problem and reported some of the issues to AUSTRAC. Political leaders roundly condemned the bank once the allegations were made public.
I don't think there's any doubt as to the seriousness of these issues and the government's position.
The Westpac banking bosses, through their negligence, have given a free pass to pedophiles, and there is a price to pay for that, Mr. Speaker, and that price will be paid.
But it was institutional investors that forced the hand of a reluctant bank yesterday.
We needed to see accountability from the company for what had occurred and for the fact that all of these things were happening on their watch without them being aware. So I think that's why the leadership had to change.
3 Westpac board members will leave the company. CEO and Managing Director Brian Hartzer will leave immediately. He held the job since 2015 and was last year paid nearly $5 million. Chair Lindsay Maxted will retire early next year after more than 11 years in his job, while Director Ewan Crouch, who led the company's Risk and Compliance Committee, won't recontest his seat on the board.
We thought that all of the bad things had come out in the Royal Commission, so it's particularly disappointing, I think, in light of that there are still new revelations coming out. I hope that this is the last one that we'll hear about.
It's not just institutional investors outraged by the behaviour of a bank worth nearly $90 billion. Joan Wharton owns $20,000 of Westpac shares.
We still actually do own a tiny, tiny, tiny share of that bank. So we have not to take it lightly. I think we have to take an interest.
Joan has already put in her vote for Westpac's AGM in 2 weeks.
I voted online and I voted against all the standing committee members, board members.
It's a similar sentiment on the opposite side of the country in Perth.
Who thinks that the managing director should have stepped down as soon as it became public? Put your hand up.
You know, these are retail investors, and what we saw this morning was just how angry and annoyed and frustrated they were that there wasn't very swift action from the board.
Westpac's AGM is on the 12th of December in Sydney. In addition to finding a new CEO and a new chair, the company will need to work hard to regain the trust of its shareholders and customers. Westpac is the biggest provider of banking services to the public service in Australia and New Zealand. And already there are calls from some politicians for it to lose those lucrative contracts.
So we want what's best for the company, and we think that what's best for the company is to have shown accountability for what went wrong, to make sure that they put in place steps to make sure it can never happen again, and to work out exactly what happened to lead to this situation. Those are the things that will mean that Westpac can move forward and once again become a successful company.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.